Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news on the Sultanate of Oman television. We'll start with the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos confers Oman Military Order Second Class to the Chief of General Staff of the Italian Army, handed by His Excellency the Minister responsible for Defense Affairs. The Sultanate condemns the criminal act carried out by what is called Daesh Group for executing a number of Egyptian citizens on Libyan soil. And the Sultanate's gross domestic product reaches more than 23.6 billion Omani riyals. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in details. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of Armed Forces, conferred Oman Military Order Second Class to Lieutenant General Claudio Graz, the Chief of General Staff of the Italian Army, in recognition of military cooperation existing between the two countries. The order was handed by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harab al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, in his office at Beit al-Falaj camp today, when he received His Excellency the Chief of General Staff of the Italian Army, who's on a few days' visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, they viewed military cooperation between the two countries and exchanged points of views on matters of common concern. The Sultanate today condemned what is called the Daesh Group for executing a number of Egyptian citizens on Libyan soil. The statement said, with great impact, the Sultanate of Oman received the news that Daesh had executed 21 Egyptian citizens, as it condemns the gruesome criminal act which reflects deep hatred and organized crime and contradicts with monotheistic legislations and sacredness of the human soul. The Sultanate once again emphasizes the importance of collaboration of efforts by the international community to combat terrorism and to dry up its sources. It also expresses its solidarity with the government of Egypt and families of the innocent victims. The Sultanate's GDP in 2014 increased by 5.2% at the current price to reach more than 23.619 billion Omani riyals, as compared to around 22.451 billion riyals. The latest statistics released by the National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that the oil activities grew by 1.4% to reach more than 11.4 billion riyals, compared to around 11.2 billion riyals. The non-oil activities recorded a growth by 8.2% to hit more than 13 billion riyals compared to 2013, which recorded around 12.5 billion riyals. The Sultanate's crude oil and petroleum condensate production had risen, where it reached 3% in January 2015 compared to the same period of last year, to stand at more than 29,769,000 barrels, with daily average of 960,000 barrels compared to December 2014. The monthly report issued by the Ministry of Oil and Gas said that the overall quantities of crude oil exported in January surpassed 25,223,000 barrels. View of historical and intellectual roots of the human harmony concept within the context of the Omani human being participation with various countries, cultures and civilizations were at the focus of the meeting of His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser Harasi, Chairman of the Public Authority for Radio and Television, with the participating guests in the fourth week of Human Proximity and Harmony, which is organized by Sultan Qaboos Higher Center for Culture, Science, Literature and Arts. The participants highlighted the great role of the Sultanate in strengthening peace and civilizational closeness at the regional and international levels, stressing that the Sultanate is representing an exceptional model to be followed in this context. They called to review terms, concepts and intellectual thoughts which contradict with the culture of human harmony and closeness. The Ministry of Manpower organized at the Oman Tourism College the conclusion ceremony for compilers of travel, tourism and hosting curriculum, with the aim of preparing specialized programs that met with the touristic sector's requirement in the Sultanate. The new academic program, based on quality standards and modern means, to provide more job opportunities for national manpower. It was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Muna bin Salim Al-Jardaniya, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Manpower for Technical Education and Vocational Training. The forum included a workshop to reveal accredited standards and new productivity of the academic program. Her Excellency Dr. Muna bin Salim Al-Jardani, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Manpower for Technical Education and Vocational Training, announced in a statement to the Sultanate of Oman Radio and Television that the vocational training diploma is ready to be applied in the tourism sector and other sectors, and it can be obtained in 3 years, first year of foundation and 2 years of diploma program. And still to come in our news bulletin. A photo exhibition was opened at the College of Applied Science in Rostaq. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. Joint cooperation between the Sultanate and Italy in military fields were at the focus of the meeting of Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces, and Lieutenant General Claudio Graz, Chief of the General Staff of the Italian Army, and his military delegation at Mu'askar Murtafa. They discussed numerous matters of mutual concern which would serve armed forces of both countries. Major General Matar bin Salim al-Blushi, Commander of Royal Army of Oman, with Lieutenant General Claudio Graz, Chief of General Staff of Italian Army, and his delegation discussed the good relations and military cooperation existing between the two countries. They viewed a number of matters of mutual concern and ways of strengthening military cooperation in various fields. Our service extended to all parts of the country was the title of an operetta organized by Engineering Services of the Ministry of Defense within celebration of its annual day, which falls on the 15th of February every year. The operetta showcased 3 artistic portraits on loyalty epic for the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces by affiliates of the engineering services, followed by an artistic show presented by a group of drummers, and a stage play which tackled numerous matters related to the current situation. The event also included honoring of a number of top affiliates of the engineering services in various activities in appreciation for their efforts during the last year. The activities were presided over by His Excellency Mohammed bin Nasser Rasbi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense. Oman Telecommunications Company, Omantel, registered a net profit of 122.4 million Omani Riyals at an increase of more than 2.5%, achieving the best results during the last 5 years. Company's revenues increased by 4% to reach more than 481 million Omani Riyals compared to 462.9 million Omani Riyals of the same period from the previous year. Omantel's expenditures rose by 2.8% to amount to 350.8 million Omani Riyals compared to 341.4 million Omani Riyals in the year 2013. Omani-Iranian Music Night, organized by Lute Amateur Association on its premises in the Wilaya of Asib in cooperation with the Iranian Embassy and with the participation of Siwar Iranian Band, which is currently visiting the Sultanate. The musicians of associations affiliated to Sultan Qaboos Higher Center for Culture and Sciences provided music pieces from Omani heritage accompanied with the Iranian Oriental musical art. In the Wilaya of Izki, activities of the second gathering for centers of Holy Quran memorization was concluded. Those in charge seek through the gathering to encourage the children to memorize and recite the Holy Quran. During the ceremony, various shows were displayed. Almost 350 students from 13 centers were honored. With the aim of involving elderly people in the society, Oman Association for Elderly Friends organized the first forum for elderly in the governorate of Dhofar. The participants in the gathering stressed the importance of providing comprehensive health care for the elderly. It was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Rashid bin Asaf al-Harabi, Chairman of the Tender Board. The forum included traditional handicrafts exhibition in addition to a theater play aimed to the necessity of taking care of the elderly. The religious lecture came to stress the importance of care of elderly people in Islam, especially the parents. Intense clashes in southern Syria have killed scores of pro-government and insurgent fighters in the past week. A group monitoring Syria's war said yesterday, forecasting even fiercer violence as the weather clears. More than 50 rebels have been killed in the fighting. The head of the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said, Rami Abdurrahman said 43 members of the Syrian army and allied groups had also died, including 12 officers. Abdurrahman, who tracks the war using sources on the ground, said around 5,000 pro-government troops were taking part in the offensive, which aims to take a triangle of rebel-held land from rural areas southwest of Damascus to Daraa city to Quentera. Winter weather had limited fighting in the past few days and prevented airstrikes. The United Nations Security Council demanded Houthi militia in Yemen to withdraw from government institutions, threatened further steps if the violence does not stop. Also on the list of yesterday's demands was the immediate release of Yemeni President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, Prime Minister Khalid Baha, and members of the former cabinet, all currently under house arrest. The 15-nation Security Council unanimously adopted a British and Jordanian drafted resolution on the crisis yesterday. The Gulf Cooperation Council had urged the Security Council to adopt a resolution under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, which allows decisions to be enforced with the economic sanctions or force. The approved UN resolution is not under Chapter 7. The Council declared its readiness to take further steps if the resolution is not implemented by parties in Yemen. Vision, a photo exhibition with the 7th photography gathering, was opened in the College of Applied Science in Rustaq, with the participation of higher education institutions in the Sultanate and a number of photographers from the state of Kuwait. The gathering, which lasts until the 18th of the current month, included 150 artistic works of students, in addition to workshops in photography. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate, with clouds over the northern governorates of the Sultanate and chances of clouds and fog in the governorates of South Sharqiya, Wusta and parts of Dhafar. Winds will be north to northwesterly, light to moderate along the coast of the Sea of Oman, while it will be westerly to southeasterly, light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas will be slight to moderate along the western coast of the governorate of Musandam, with a maximum wave height of 1.75 meters, and along the rest of the coast it will be slight, with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos confers Oman military orders second class to the Chief of General Staff of the Italian Army, handed by His Excellency the Minister responsible for Defense Affairs. The Sultanate condemns the criminal act carried out by what is called Daesh Group for executing a number of Egyptian citizens on Libyan soil. And the Sultanate's gross domestic product reaches more than 23.6 billion Omani riyals. With that, we come to an end to tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, good night.